Hello and welcome to my review of the Nurgle Plaguebearers. You can find them in the Start Collecting Daemons of Nurgle box set, which is £50. Alternatively, you can buy them in a separate box for £18 for 10 miniatures. Not too bad, but then again you don't really get that many extra parts. I'll talk about those in a moment. So you get the 10 models. I've just arranged them like so. I've customised them a little bit to sort of make them stand out a bit. So what I'll do is I'll go through the models, I'll look at them one by one, then we'll do some size comparisons, we'll look at the spare parts, and then I'll talk to you about the rules, because they do have rules in the Death Guard Codex. So a typical unit consists of 1 Plague Ridden and 9 Plague Bearers. So here's the Plague Ridden with this massive Plague Sword, which is pretty much taller than a Space Marine, which is crazy. And these models in particular are taller than Space Marines. I know I should be doing a size comparison later, but yeah, as you can see, just while we're there. So yeah, he's just got like a, you know, he's a bag for life, full of heads, as you would. He's got these big horns coming out and, you know, 3 eyes. Yeah, he's rocking that look. He's got loads of spots and part of his spine coming out and bits of ruptured skin and all kinds of things happening. So yeah, so he's just wandering around like that. This guy I really like. He's sort of like with this gaping mouth, sort of blurting out horrible filth, I don't know, and some intestines appearing out. Then we got this guy, sort of got his hand in a funny sort of position. Lots of details on these plastic miniatures. We've got this kind of icon bearer kind of thing, with this big horn and a grin, and he's got this teeth and mouth coming out of his torso. He's got a head on there. It's important to note that you can actually, if you want, you can sort of glue that, and I was tempted to do it, I'll probably do it on the next set, but glue that there so you've got like a double-sided icon, if you just wanted to do that. But I don't know whether he could hold that weight. I mean, he's got a bit of gains going on there, but who knows, he might be able to hold that up. They're probably stronger than they look, aren't they? And then we've got this guy, which has got a sort of a mouth, but vertical mouth. He's just loving life. Or is it a woman? I mean, they're quite pointy, aren't they, those? Who knows, maybe it was. But there we go. And then we look at the funnies, the models that I've sort of put little Nurglings on to make them look awesome, of course. We'll start off with this guy. So he's sort of screaming something, he's got a Nurgling peering out of his belly, and then there's a butt. So we've got a little Nurgling doing a handstand, showing the world his arse. So there we go. That is that little funny one. Then we've got this guy. He's got a human head just attached to his finger there. He's about to hurl it probably. And then we've got this little Nurgling trying his bestest to pull out some sausages out of his belly area that he ate earlier. So that's that little comical scene. Then I couldn't resist it, guys. So I took a Nurgling from the main sort of Nurgling set. I took one of these and I just had to put him on his shoulders. Like he's giving them a boost, like you do with your kids, you know, so that they can be stupid tall and can see over the battlefield and stuff. And I think even with this Nurgling on top, I think this model is almost as tall as a Primaris Space Marine, but we'll have to do that size comparison in a bit. So that's that one. And then the funniest one in the entire set that I managed to do is this guy. Oh, I just laugh every time I see him. It's almost like he's walking, and you know when you hold a child's hand with the mum and you're lifting the child up in the air. Basically we need another one of these that is sort of holding his hand that way, sort of 1, 2, 3, way, sort of, you know, throwing them in the air almost, or maybe he's just skipping along and he's just holding his hand. But I just couldn't resist when I saw this little cheeky Nurgling to put that. Maybe he's helping him jump over this pile of maggots or crap or whatever it is, I don't know. So yeah, I just couldn't resist with that one, guys. But I put a picture of him on Instagram when I first sort of made him, so hope you chuckled at that. So that's all the models. Let's have a look at some size comparisons. So we've already showed you like a Space Marine. So Space Marine is taller, definitely got more presence though. Space Marine is a bit more chunkier, stockier than these Plague Bearers. Next to a Primaris. Yeah, Primaris is taller than these, sort of what these were built to destroy, really, these Nurglings and demonic sort of forces and things. So I don't think, no, he's not as tall, is he? Look, oh well, never mind. So yeah, that's the Primaris. And then next to the normal Death Guard, this is one I painted a little while ago. Death Guard are taller than all the Plague Bearers, and pretty much definitely more of a presence if you bundle them within them. So that's that. And then we might as well, just for the giggles, so Terminator, yeah, Blightlord Terminator is far bigger. Even the Herald of Nurgle sort of stands heads and shoulders above them all. Definitely you could spot him a mile away in this Plague Bearer unit. Right, so let's have a look at the spare parts. You get a fair few spare parts. I'll just sort of shift them over. So yeah, as I just showed you a while ago, you get this extra little icon thing that you could have instead of this icon with the bells and the human heads. You get a fair few spare Nurglings, which is awesome. You know, there's nothing stopping you from putting these on other models, on Death Guard models. The only downside is they're pretty much got to be put on the base unless you're very careful and chop the base off and manage to chop, you know, under their feet, and then you can place them on top of Death Guard models and things. You get some pipes. I didn't really use them. They're more sort of Age of Sigmar kind of rules. You get a couple of heads that I didn't use, like this Horn Antler one. And this fly one. Couple more Nurglings. This guy is sort of tripping up on his own intestines, it looks like. And this guy, yeah, probably pulling intestines from someone else. Well, two of them actually, just mirror image. Yeah, so you get a little selection of parts that I suppose you could use the Nurglings on. Yeah, like this one sort of dancing. You could use them on other models, I suppose, or you could even use them on another set of these. So they're the spare parts, not a huge amount, but I just thought I'd show you them anyway. And finally, this is my part of the review where I talk to you about the rules. So you'll find them in the troop section of your Death Guard Codex. They're a power level of 4. Their movement is 5 inches, same as Nurglings. Their weapon skill, ballistic skill is 4+, same as Nurglings. Their strength and toughness is 4. They got 1 wound, 1 attack, leadership 7, and a save of 6+. And as I mentioned before, they contain 1 Plague Ridden, which is this guy in the front with the big plague sword, and 9 Plague Bearers. The only difference is the Plague Ridden gets another attack, and that's it. So he just gets 2 attacks instead of the 1. You can include up to 10 additional Plague Bearers, or up to 20. So you can have 30 Plague Bearers in one unit, which is pretty horrific. And I'll talk to you about how you can use those 30 in a little moment. Now their weapons, they've only got the Plague Sword, so it's a strength of user, which is 4, not too bad. Damage is 1, but you can re-roll failed wound rolls for the weapon. So not any wound rolls of a 1, but any failed wound rolls. So for every 10 models in the unit, 1 may take an Instrument of Chaos, which is probably that pipe that I didn't take. For every 10 models in the unit, 1 may take a demonic item. They have demonic rituals, so you can summon them in, and disgustingly resilient, which means they're getting their 5+, sort of feel no pain almost. And they get a demonic save of the 5+ invulnerable. The demonic icon, when you roll a 1 when taking morale test for the unit, reality blinks and the demonic horde is bolstered. No models flee, and D6 slain models are returned to the unit. That's pretty awesome, but you have to get that roll of a 1 to get possibly up to 6 more models in the unit, so that's quite good. Cloud of Flies, so this is what I mentioned earlier about having a big unit of 30. Large groups of Plague Bearers attract great clouds of flies that buzz about them, obscuring them from view. If the unit contains 20 or more models at the start of a phase, your opponent must subtract 1 from all hit rolls for attacks that target them. So you get these in front of a high value target like Plaguebearers Crawler or Land Raider or something like that, and you get the 30 of them. Make sure that at least 20 survive, then the enemy's having to subtract 1 from all the hit rolls, which could really make the difference. And I think that would be a good tactic to use. Instrument of Chaos. A unit that includes any Instrument of Chaos adds 1 to their advance and charge rolls. So that's going to help them charge if you really want them to charge. But with 1 attack, you know, not the best weapon skill, and a damage of 1 with strength user is not the best sort of thing. So I don't know whether you want to be charging with these guys at all. But if anything, I would take them as a 5+ invulnerable wall that's going to protect more valuable targets. That's the way I'd use them. They're quite cheap too, 7 points per model, and you get you know, you can have your 30 models. So what's that? 210 points for 30 models that have an invulnerable save that reduce hit rolls of a 1 against them. And that's all I really want to say about the Plaguebearers. I think they're an awesome little kit. It would have been nice to see them in slightly different poses with their hands and their swords maybe. If you get 20, you know, with different heads and stuff, they're not going to look too samey, but I think from 30 onwards they are going to. Please do put it in the comments below any scenarios where you can think they'd be pretty useful. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. Papa bless.